Now what you're looking at is a Hino 700 series of the year 2012, which has got a twin steer suspension in up front, and a 12.9 liter engine. I know in other parts of the world they're going to call it Hono Profia, right? But I'm going to refer it to as Hino 700 series because that's what I'm familiar with, right? So this truck has got a DPF malfunction, right? And the computer has detected that there is a blockade inside the exhaust, right? By throwing a bunch of codes like the one that you're looking at on the screen, right? And pretty much that's the situation. So we had to take out the DPF, right? So that we have a look at it and see the condition. Now, seemingly, as you look at it up top, it's gonna look like everything is okay. It's gonna look like there's no blockade, although there's a hint, as you can see, right? But what we then went on to do, because I mean, having done similar vehicles, we know what this is, right? We went on and we took it apart. So that's what this video is going to be all about. We're going to be talking about DPF issues and the solutions that are available when you've got a Hino 700 series. So before we get to the meat and potatoes of this video, let's talk about what we found in the DPF of that vehicle. So to my left is what came out of the Hino 700 series, and then to my right is another vehicle. It's blocked. That one on my right is blocked, but not to the level of the one which came from the Hino 700 series. So as you can see, there are lines. Those lines which have got black soot are supposed to be clean, right? They can have black soot, but not to this level, right? You can see my hands are actually getting dirty just touching it. Then the other one, you can see right here that the lines are okay. They are dirty, but not to the level of the Hino 700 series. So I'm going to hold this to the light. I'm going to hold this to the sunlight. You're actually supposed to see some light passing through this through these lines, but you can see there is no light whatsoever, right? There is no light whatsoever passing through this DPF, right? Nothing, right? Now let's get the other one, right? And let's put it to the direct sunlight. You can see, right, that there is some light. There is some light passing through, and this one is blocked, by the way. But this one is by far, it's actually better than the condition of the Hino 700. So I had to put this so that you really know what we are talking about, the situation that we are talking about, and how catastrophic that can end up being on a vehicle, right? So the point of these DPFs is to limit the amount of carbon footprint, right? The amount of carbon soot that is actually getting into the atmosphere, right? So it just filters it, right? And when it is filtered, the computer of the vehicle will do a very good job by detecting that there's a blockade. And what it then does is, automatically, whilst you're driving, you won't even notice that's what's happening, right? It will start to deliberately overfuel, right? So as to burn up the soot that is stuck inside this DPF. So usually when that happens, you see a DPF light flashing, right? What it is simply telling you is not to switch off the car, right? Just let it do its cycle, and after it is finished doing its cycle, you will see that it will actually show you that it has finished doing its cycle by switching off the lights, and then generally to actually perform better after having done so, right? But unfortunately, what really happens with these vehicles is when it recognizes that it's doing that process of overfueling, which we call regeneration, for an extended period of time, and there is no change that is happening, that's when it will show you those check engine lights. That's when it starts to show some episodes of loss of power, until you maybe switch it on and switch it off, and you have to start over again, right? So that's pretty much what happens when a DPF failure is starting to happen, right? And the reason why these DPFs are failing can be one of three things, right? The first one being your driving habit, right? So pretty much these vehicles are supposed to be allowed to do that regeneration process. So they require you to drive them over a period of time on a long stretch or on a highway condition, right? That's what they want, right? But if you use it for a short distance, probably use it for short distance deliveries, you use it for short distance runs, you're going to have a problem with your DPF because you're not giving it enough time to do that self-cleaning process that it does, right? So that's the reason number one. Reason number two is because of the quality of fuel that you're using. Right now, generally in third world countries like where we are from, we use fuel quality which is not of the greatest quality, right, compared to what's being used in your Japanese or in your European or first world countries, right? Those countries have got far much better quality of fuel than what we have, right? So usually we see DPFs clogging like this. We see DPFs failing like this because contaminants are getting stuck inside that DPF. And when the manufacturer made these vehicles, he did not take into account that you are going to be using horrible quality fuel. He expected you to use the right quality of fuel, right? So that's the issue that happens in third world countries, and that's why these issues continue to recur. And it seems as if that DPFs constantly has issues in our third world countries, right? And then the last reason why these DPFs fail is due to failing air to fuel ratios, right? So now this vehicle in particular, you see that it was now having an issue with the fuel pump, right? So sometimes because of components failing, right, inside the engine, you will see that naturally the vehicle is going to produce some smoke, right? But the smoke has nowhere to go but to be stuck inside the diesel particle filter. So the vehicle will basically fail its job as it is trying to do that regeneration cycle, that self-cleaning process. It might succeed, but then it is quickly overburdened by the fact that the vehicle itself is just producing more emission than it should, right? So pretty much the issues that are affecting this vehicle are mainly two. Now it does highway journeys mostly, but two issues which are mainly affecting it, which is quality of fuel that we have here in Africa, and then also lastly an issue of failing air to fuel mixtures, right? Now, so when a vehicle is having an issue with air to fuel mixtures, there are a couple of reasons that cause your air to fuel mixtures fail. I talked about a pump issue which was happening on this truck, but then there are other issues, like for example a turbo that is not producing sufficient boost, right? Or a boost leak where your pipes are losing air, or when your injectors are generally over fueling because they've become faulty, and that usually happens due to bad fuel anyway. So those are some of the issues, right, that cause that then cause that DPF to start to malfunction. Okay. And it's important for you to understand the reasons that has caused a DPF to fail, because it's going to directly affect the kind of solution that you're going to implement, right? So some of the symptoms that you're going to see when you are having a DPF failure, there are pretty much four of them, right? So the first one, I mentioned that you're going to see a DPF light flashing, and then which is going to be followed by episodes of loss of power, and then a check engine light will show, right? And after that, when a check engine light is shown, you're going to see the power is gone. It is deliberately put itself in limp mode where it is saying, look, go and fix my DPF, and then afterwards I'm just going to perform, right? So that's number two. Number three, another thing that you're going to see is that your fuel consumption is going to be excessive. The reason why you're going to have excessive fuel consumption is because remember what I explained earlier to say that it's got its self-cleaning process. That self-cleaning process it does as you are driving consumes a lot of fuel, so it's going to do that for extended periods of time, and because it's doing that over an extended period of time, it's going to really hurt your pocket, right? In terms of fuel consumption, this truck is going to consume a lot of fuel, right? Sometimes it might even feel uneconomical. And then lastly, another thing that you're going to observe is episodes of where it starts to shoot clouds of white smoke. Now, the reason why you see it sometimes shooting clouds of white smoke may be because the DPF was breached, right? Maybe somebody stole the cats or breached it, and then now you are starting to see white smoke. Now, instead of that self-cleaning, because it will be a self-cleaning process that's ongoing, right? So it's over fueling so as to cook what's inside the DPF, but just because there is nothing now right? Just because there's nothing in that exhaust, you start to see white smoke coming out of the exhaust. And if you smell that white smoke, it smells like raw diesel. That's what pretty much begins to happen, right? So like I explained earlier, you need to understand the reasons why that DPF has failed, because if you don't understand why it has failed, it's going to be hard to come with a concrete solution, right? Now, if you are watching this video from your first world countries, maybe you're watching from Europe or from America or from Australia, right? The first solution that you have to attend to, even if you're in third world countries, the first solution that you can attempt, or which you should attend to, is actually to do forced regeneration. Your diagnostic technicians can just come and connect a computer onto the truck, and then they will put it into regeneration mode, where it will start to clean itself forcefully, right? This is going to work, right? And it's going to be effective, particularly if you first of all resolve the reasons why your DPF has failed in the first place. So if it was due to your driving habits, you just have to change after that regeneration process, right? If it is due to bad quality of fuel, the regeneration sometimes could be too late, because we are saying that there are contaminants that have stuck inside the DPF, right? And maybe regeneration can just work for a day, can just work for a month, or just a few hours. Sometimes that's what really happens when you've got a situation of contaminated fuel. So like I said, regeneration can be a short term depending on what has caused that DPF to fail. So the second solution that you would have where regeneration has failed is where you are now supposed to buy a brand new DPF, right? And usually this is where your DPF has been contaminated, it has become useless, right? That's when you are now having an option to say, okay, you have to buy a brand new DPF now. And just because of the cost of these DPFs, I'll tell you that in third world countries, it might actually not make sense to do a replacement of that DPF, because we're saying, look, the fuel quality that you're using is of horrible quality. You understand? So just because it's of horrible quality, in a short period of time, again, you're going to have that DPF contaminated and heavily blocked, like what we have in this particular circumstance, right? But if it's in your first world country, maybe sometimes you used bad fuel, or maybe because you can replace that DPF, and soon after you just have to make sure that you fix the reason why that has caused your DPF to fail, right? And then again, if there was a problem with your failing air to fuel ratios, that you have to fix as well, because we are saying that's what caused your DPFs to fail in the first place. So if you go ahead and buy a brand new DPF and don't fix that, you're still going to wind up back with a problem with the DPF, right? That's what's going to happen, right? So if you're in your first world countries, you cannot take the third solution, which I'm going to propose, obviously because your laws do not allow you to do so. Now here in the third world countries, like where we come from, we are in Africa. We are in Zimbabwe, to be specific. We actually convert these vehicles to non-DPF. Already we are manufacturing similar trucks like this, which come without a DPF system, right? They perform better, right, in terms of performance, in terms of fuel consumption, because they don't go through that self-cleaning process which that a vehicle equipped with a DPF does from time to time, right? So we can pretty much convert this one, because this one has been imported. I can tell you it has been imported either from Australia, or it has come through either from Japan, right? So we'll do a conversion on this on the system of this vehicle to make it a non-DPF, and that's exactly what we're implementing on this truck, because we know that going to buy a brand new DPF is far much more expensive. As of today, which is the 24th of July 2020, the DPF of this truck is costing $2,700 US, right? And I think to land it here in Zimbabwe, given its weight, you're looking at close to about 3,500 or almost 4,000, right? That's how amount you're going to spend to do that. And we're saying that it's not going to last, right? It's not going to last because already we know that the quality of fuel that we're using is of bad quality, right? We know the quality of fuel that we're using, and we also know that already this truck was beginning to have some issues with its air to fuel mixtures. So buying a brand new DPF is probably going to work less than a month, right? And that's as good as flashing money down the drain, right? But for less amount than this, actually a fraction of the cost, we would be able to do a conversion on this vehicle to non-DPF, and it's going to perform by far better. And you're going to see that in terms of the lifespan of that vehicle, it's actually going to be extended, because we are saying that there is not going to be a situation of back pressure being created between the turbo and the DPF, right? Because usually what happens with these vehicles is that as pressure begins to mount by the DPF, it definitely kills the turbo. That's 99% of the time. You force it to drive, in this case, where it has got a blocked DPF, you are just going to find yourself having a destroyed turbo. Now you've got several issues to attend to. A DPF which has got an issue, you've got a turbo which has got an issue, you've got failing air-fuel ratio mixtures which needs to be attended to. So it becomes really a very expensive and costly repair. So once you see yourself having a DPF issue, immediately, if you are in your third world countries, there's no two ways about it. You just have to go and convert that vehicle to non-DPF. So there are benefits that come with our solution, and I think I've really touched much about them, right? To say that you are just going to see an improvement in power, you're also going to see an improvement in your fuel consumption, and also the general longevity of your engine is going to be improved, because we are saying there's no more back pressure that's being created, right? And more importantly, I'll tell you that our solution comes with a lifetime guarantee. That's the solution that we are able to provide you. It comes with a lifetime guarantee. Once we have worked your truck, once we've converted to non-DPF, you are assured that you're not going to have issues, relapse of the same issues ever again, right? We're not going to talk about DPF issues. We're not going to talk about malperformance due to a failing emission system, right? So pretty much that's the solution that we have to offer when it comes to these Hino 700 series, right? I'm just going to put a video where we were driving this truck around, where it was now in better condition. You can hear the driver speak about how he feels about the truck, how it is now performing. And we're saying, if you've got the same problem with this truck, don't hesitate. You can contact us. It doesn't matter where you are, right? As long as you are able to contact the numbers that are on the are on the screen, then we should be able to help you. Thank you very much for watching.
inenge yakutonyatsopinda table chaizvo inofanira kuita chaizvo because apa yanga iri mulimp mode yaiteti put itself in a safe mode yekuti it was not performing anymore yanga isachatoni saka patable hakutonyatsonzwa even paunotsika you should feel that table surge yekuti yes utonzwa kakasage ketable kuti apa yapindira